What's up guys, welcome back from the Yugioh Pro Duel video. Next match, Cross-Banlist Cup. We kinda have arrived at the next group, being Group E. It's quite of a special group, I guess. A couple of Synchro decks, and we have Blood as well, returning for this year's Cross-Banlist Cup. So quite of a similar list, one scapegoat less compared to like previous years. So yeah, anyway, it's taking on, I believe, the deck is being featured the first time, I believe, on the channel. I can't remember that I actually played a Dark Synchro variant or a Dark Synchro deck like years ago. The deck dates from 2060, if I'm not mistaken, and this should be the list you'll be seeing here. If I'm not mistaken, should be an OCG list. I'm looking at like a turbo-ish variant of the deck with Chicken Game, with Upstart Goblin as well, and Triple Gofu, you know, good old school Gofu, with the Level Eater, as you know. I mean, you're seeing it here. A lot of cards from the deck list shown here are banned: Gofu, Level Eater, Chicken Game, for the TCG that is, and Ancient Fairy Dragon, Maxi. Like, crazy stuff. A lot of cards were or are limited as well, so feels quite iffy. So which deck has the advantage? Well, going first feels quite important. Both side decks will be very important, and I'm looking at the side deck of Dark Synchro side decking in Antraps. I'm looking at Maxi, maybe DD Crow as well, maybe the, you know, like the Crimson Blader might be important, I guess. So yeah, those cards are definitely very important against something like Blood, right? Then again, I'm looking at Blood, and the problem with Blood is that if it's going... Well, it's a deck that, okay, definitely has the potential to go first, but what can you do? I mean, with Blood you can just... Well, if you open okay, you can definitely go for something like Dimension Fusion, going for your perfect field of Demok, and, you know, keep recycling it off of your Dimension Fusion and go from there. Maybe put a Plasma. That's okay, and maybe sit behind the Mirror Force. But that's perfect scenario, and that's not really the highest chance of, you know, opening, you being able to open with that particular field. So yeah, this time going second with Yugioh, and against a deck that feels quite similar to Windups, if that makes sense. You know, like hand looping your entire hand, and the deck definitely has the potential to do that, because again, Hyper Librarian, TG Hyper Librarian, that's the focus of the deck. You're just main decking so many starters and extenders that it feels quite ridiculous. It's so easy to set up a Hyper Librarian first turn, and then with triple formula synchron, with the you know, like multiple draws, the multiple extenders, the soul charge as well, the monster reborn, perfect extenders. You'll just bound. It's just bound to happen that you will draw into your power cards as well. And I'm looking at the double Ancient Fairy Dragon as well, which again is not restricted to once per turn. Well, yeah, once per copy. Well, yeah, you know what I mean. When it's like face up on the field, but as soon as it leaves the field, you can just keep popping your own field spell, for example, to get another search, or at the same time special summon a level 1 tuner, which again opens up those Omega plays, and that's what makes this deck so ridiculous. Looking at Windups, very similar to Windups, the Windup Hunter loop, but other than that particular strategy and deck is that this deck has multiple Synchro, big beat sticks also next to the hand loop as well. So going first, and okay, I was, you know, keeping the spell canceller in the back of my mind, off of the reasoning Monster Gate, but, you know, the chances of hitting it are quite low. But okay, hit it with the reasoning, that's fine. Still had the Trap Dust Shoot as a potential follow-up play, and it was needed to get rid of Gofu. Then again, there weren't any, well, next to Gofu, you know, you can't use the tokens of Gofu to go for a Synchro play. So, you know, like having Gofu with another normal summon, that could have been helpful, a low-level normal summon to go for that Synchro play to attack over Plasma, or, you know, in this case, Spell Canceller would have been good, but that wasn't the case, and Canceller is definitely very sought against that's somewhat based on looping, and of course the spells, the extenders, Chicken Game as well. So yeah, that's my reasoning to add in Spell Cancer as well. So eventually it worked out quite fine. But yeah, game number 3 again, I go second. I side out the trap does shoot, but I think I'm keeping in the Mind Crush. Again, there isn't really... That's the problem. There weren't really any cards that I would side deck going second. And that's the weakness of this deck, is that you can't play... There weren't really any hand traps. I mean, it wasn't really relevant. Other than maybe Kuriboh back then for Cyberstein, but that was before even this format. Anyway, so yeah, going second, and basically this is, well, again, full combo, I guess. The thing is that the fact that Blood isn't really running any hand traps, you aren't able to stop any turns from, from the Dark Synchro deck, and that's of course a huge problem. I mean, a well-timed failure, for example, could already do a lot, like prevent your opponent from using Hyper Librarian and drawing those cards. It definitely could help out. Side decking Mystical Space Typhoon, again, there is nothing really better. I side deck out the Heavy Storm, but Mystical Space Typhoon could be okay against something like Chicken Game. But yeah, going second doesn't really feel that strong, right? And again, there aren't really any traps, but there is nothing better. And yeah, Soul Charge again, it feels so broken. Again, the Ancient Fairy Dragon and, multiple Trishula, because the deck is so powerful, it can definitely draw the entire deck in the first turn, and let alone draw into the power cards like Soul Charge, like Pot of Avarice to refuel your extra deck, refuel your Trishula, and yeah, just, hand loop your opponent's entire, basically the entire hand. So anyway, going first, and I get blown away by Maxi, and that's again huge reasoning from, I believe, not really sure, level 4 was called? Yeah, indeed, level 4 was called, that's fine, but I need to make some awkward plays, getting Graceful Charity back, and I was like, maybe I should try to hit my last copy of Trap Does Shoot, and maybe have like a recovery play ready, and here, I could have gone for Destined Hero Plasma, but again, I would have ended like on a weak Plasma. And the opponent getting another draw, so 7 cards in total, and I was like, no, I'm not going to risk that. I'm just going to set my entire hand, prevent from being Omega looped, and hope for the best. But, well, yeah, what can I say? That's again the perfect hand, but I think with that hand, the Greffer indeed was the 6th card here, I think, and I don't think it would have mattered. So yeah, there was still the normal summon to go for a level 5 Synchro play to attack over a weak Plasma, and yeah, not being able to draw any defense that to protect the Plasma that would have been game as well. So eventually going for Plasma, or if I would have gone for Plasma, it would not have mattered in the long run, right? But again, nonetheless, these are some good plays. I'm honest, again, going for, like multiple Coral Dragon, double Trishula as well to clean the back row. And even though the deck is not playing Heavy Storm, I'm not sure about it, but I don't think the Dark Synchro deck is playing Heavy Storm, but the fact that you can recycle your Coral Dragon and Trishula, and the fact that you're able to reborn Coral Dragon with the Monster Reborn eventually to, you don't want to run into Mirror Forces. I'm definitely keeping in the Mirror Force here because of this potential field, right? Since Omega cannot use its effect during the battle phase, so I definitely want cards like Mirror Force to still be in the deck. But yeah, that's the case. I can't really change something about that. And I'm under Crimson Blader. The Crystal Wing is on the field to negate monster effects. Omega could interrupt any of my plays, right? And yeah, what can I do? I mean, that's the problem of the deck, and as I mentioned before, that Blood does not have the ability to play hand traps, or does not really have access to good hand traps. I'm looking at Failure, probably. I'm looking at DD Crow. Yeah, DD Crow definitely an option against a deck like Dark Synchro, prevent the well-timed Level Eater, or, like any tuner to hit the field to stop the deck in its tracks. I feel that the deck is quite vulnerable to, let's say, if Dark Synchro is playing against the deck, let's say from this age, where people are playing somewhat like multiple hand traps, or even maybe traps in general to interrupt the plays, then I feel the deck will definitely struggle. But against a deck like Blood, main decking not too many hand traps, bar maybe the Trap Does Shoot, but if Blood is not going first, yeah, what can a deck do, right? So that's something where the deck definitely struggles, and I'm talking about Blood, that is. So yeah, I think we have a well-deserved winner here with the Dark Synchro taking up the 3 points. But yeah, Blood's still sitting at 1 point, but yeah. this matchup wasn't really that fantastic for the deck. So next matchup we have Synchro versus Infernities. I believe these should be 2 OCG lists as well, so somewhat of a heavy OCG oriented group here with Bryonic Loops of Premature Burial featuring Synchro as well from 2009. It will take on Synchro Infinities featuring Trishula, so Trishula from the OCG, you know, like Infinities having access to Trishula. Okay, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave a comment or like if you enjoyed the video. Lithium signing out. Peace.